impact today. Elevate the lives of your brothers and sisters. Donate now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, and welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Now, this is a live show where we take in your questions. So you may have a question in regards to traveling. It could be in regards to marriage. It could be in regards to halal and haram foods. Whatever question you have, you guys can send it in via the WhatsApp. The number's there below. You can scan the QR code and that'll take you straight to the WhatsApp page. Or if you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your questions in the comment section and we'll be able to answer them. If you'd like to call in, 0203 515 0199. That's if you're in the UK. If you're outside the UK, it's not a problem. Just call the WhatsApp number. It should be there below anytime now. And you can call in. I'm your host, Mohsin Shia, and joining me is Sheikh Ali Ma'a. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, bikhair, alhamdulillah.
That's good to see you.
As usual.
Sheikhna, before we begin, because questions are coming in, we always ask, is there any hadith you'd like to share with our viewers? Is there any lessons or anything that you could teach us? So over to you, Sheikhna. Do you have anything for our viewers this week?
Inshallah. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam was asked this question that لأي شيء يحتاج إلى النبي وإلى الإمام عليهم السلام. Why do we need a prophet, and why do we need the prophet's vicegerent or imam as we have? So why do we need them? The Imam said عليه السلام لبقاء العالم على صلاحه, so that the world would remain in peace and safety. Because we have in other narrations say that without an imam who was assigned by Allah Azza wa Jal, the earth will be destroyed. لساخت الأرض لولا حجة. So without a hujjah, without a proof, the earth would be destroyed. This is how Allah created this earth, that to have the first ever human being to be a prophet of Allah, Adam alayhi salam, his Khalifa on earth, till the judgment. So he would not leave Azza wa Jal the earth without a Khalifa, an Imam, who was appointed by Allah Azza wa Jal through his prophet. And that's why we insist as followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam that you cannot have a Khalifa or Imam over the people who represent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except through appointment by the prophet through Jibreel, through Allah Azza wa Jal. And the proofs are evidenced in the Holy Quran and the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. So the Imam says, Salamullah alayh, وَذَلِكَ, he elaborates, and that is أن عز وجل, that Allah Azza wa Jal يرفع العذاب عن أهل الأرض. Allah would remove the punishment from the people of the earth. Why? إذا كان فيها نبي أو إمام, if there was an Imam or a prophet. So the existence of the prophet or the Imam who is a vicegerent of that prophet, Allah would remove, would repel, would raise the punishment or the adab from the people of the earth. قال الله عز وجل, so in the Holy Quran, the Imam brings an ayah from the Quran, وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعَذِّبَهُمْ وَأَنْتَ فِيهِمْ. Allah would not punish them, your ummah, your people, as far as you are within them, amongst them. When there's a prophet or imam within the people, Allah would not punish the people of the earth, destroy them. So that's the hikmah and the wisdom behind having a hujjah in the earth, be it a visible hujjah, like the Prophet alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, or the, let's say, invisible or disappearing hujjah like Imam al-Zaman Ajjallah Farajahu al-Sharif.
MashaAllah. Just a quick reminder to all of you is that the phone lines are open. You can send in your questions via the WhatsApp number, should be there below. Scan the QR code there, that'll take you straight to the WhatsApp page. If you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, you can send in your questions in the comment section. And I have questions coming in now, but I cannot see them, so I'm going to grab it from my phone, which is over here somewhere. Oh, wait. So, first question I think is from YouTube, and it says, Salaamu Alaikum Sheikhna.
Salam.
Is it permissible to hand sculpture out a clay representing the day of Ghadir? Is it okay to keep the clay hand sculpture in the house? That's on WhatsApp.
The ulama would have some kind of restrictions with regards to these sculptures. So you can't have, let's say, the full body, just part of that body. So they have some of them, some of the ahkam with this regard. That part of the body would be.
Nice. Right, I've got the questions back up now. From YouTube, Salaamu Alaikum Sheikhna, what are the limits of interaction with the opposite gender? Jazakallah khair.
It's within the Shari'i boundary. In other words, there's no exchange of romance words, arousal of lust, temptation. It's just a professional, let's say, speech or chat, which is required. Something that is not just out of even to spend some time with that individual, for example, because I'm bored, so I'm going to talk to someone from the opposite gender. Something that's reasonable.
From YouTube, Salaamu Alaikum Sheikhna. There are some countries that consider themselves true Islamic republics. Do they apply the Islamic teachings and Sharia into the country? Jazakallah khair.
The barometer or the measurement is the famous hadith of the Thiqlayn that is mentioned in the book of Allah Azza wa Jalla, in the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, and in Shia books and the Sunni books, that he left two weighty things, the book of Allah and his family. So we bring any government, any alim, scholar, anyone who says that I represent the Islam, if their actions match and meet these requirements, then of course they are actually following the Islam to the best knowledge. Otherwise, it's outside the boundary of Kitabullah wa Adat Ahl Bayt alayhim salam.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu Alaikum Sheikhna, is there any sawab and benefit in going to Arba'een the following years back to back?
Of course, the ziyarah of Hussein alayhi salam has been encouraged a lot. And if you go back to Kitab Kamil al-Ziyarat, we'll see numerous hadith with this regard, that if somebody is rich, at least they have to go, let's say, once a year. Of course, it's not wajib, but it's something required, encouraged in the hadith, highly encouraged. If somebody is poor, then the time is more extended, for example. So it depends really on the one's ability. If they can go every year, that would be, of course, credit.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu Alaikum Sheikhna, can men sleep with silk pillowcases as they protect the hair and they're good for the skin? Sheikhna, it does happen sometimes with cotton or different materials. Sometimes you get rough material. People's skins are sensitive. Silk, on the other hand, very soft, very comfortable, doesn't really damage the hair, very light and smooth on the skin. So are men allowed to use silk pillowcases, silk bed sheets, silk duvets and so forth? We're not wearing the silk, we're just using it, for other things. Is that okay?
As you've said, we're not wearing them. So the criteria is that you don't wear silk and gold if you're a man, if you're a male. So that's forbidden to wear them, basically. Yeah.
From YouTube, Assalamu Alaikum Sheikh Ad Sayyid, Alaikum Salam wa Rahmatullah. I have a friend who is married and he has an addiction to masturbating and porn. He needs advice, guidance and dua. What do you advise, please?
The best way is initially, if they have a psychological ailment, or they need to see experts with this regard, in a hospital, doctor,
See a doctor,
for example,
or someone who deals with
psychiatric,
addiction.
for example.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they have to gradually work on themselves to quit this indecent act, in other words, which has, of course, sin, a sinful act, and there's a punishment for it. So one should try to quit this type of sins, inshallah.
From YouTube, are there any du'as that you can recommend, please?
We have lots of ad'iyah, and the best type of du'a that you recite it continuously. So if you can recite Dua Kumail every Thursday night, the continuation is very important. or dua tawassul every week, or let's say dua al-nudbah every Friday morning. Important to have this continuation every week or every day if it's a daily dua, for example.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it haram to depict the face of the Prophet or Imams, etc., in pictures?
They don't really represent that's the Imam or the Prophet.
It's more of a symbol, isn't it, Sheikh?
Yeah,
or nishan, as we say.
I mean, scholars didn't forbid to
but
have these.
it's wrong to think that the Imam look like this. It's just
It doesn't represent the Imam's image, no.
Yeah, it's just an interpretation. It was just an assumption. There's no indication that it's actually accurate to the way the Imam looked. Question here from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Could you go through the mustahab acts of the janazah prayer and the funeral ceremonies? Oh, that's a really good question. Sheikhna, it's going to be a bit long, but it's very detailed and interesting. So when someone's passed away, we can start with the ghusl al-mayyit, which is done with the sidr water, the kamfur water, the plain water.
Yes.
Once that's done, there's the shroud, the coffin. That's
three pieces.
Yeah. 3 pieces. One like qamis, one around the waist, and the third one wraps the whole body, isn't it?
Body, yes, exactly.
And then you tie by the ankles. I think one by the knees.
Don't forget, you have the what's called. They put the powder on the body.
Kamfur.
Yeah, on the body. So it's not just ghusl.
It's on the.
They call it hanut, I think.
Hanut is on the 7 places of sujood.
Sujood, exactly.
They place
powder,
powder. Then we go to the janazah prayer, isn't it, Sheikh?
Yeah, the famous janazah prayer.
Could you explain a little bit about how the janazah prayer is done?
Yeah, takbirat on this janazah is done. Of course, we differ with the Ahl al-Amma, mukhalifin. But of course, we have to understand that it's not actually a proper salah. They call it salatul mayyit or salatul janazah. It's not actually salah. So you can come without being in a state of wudu. There's no sujood ruku' for this type. It's just the dua for the mayyit. You start the dua with the salawat and then you say that I haven't seen anything bad from this individual. Allahumma la a'lam minhu illa khayra. That he is a mawali of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. I haven't seen anything wrongdoing from this individual, for example. And of course, mustahabbat, the shahada of the 40 mu'min, they give shahada signature that this individual is a mu'min. We haven't seen anything bad from him. So other mustahabbat also mentioned to write on the kafan, dua jawshan al-kabir, and so forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Khaq al-shafa.
Yeah.
And so forth.
And then going towards the grave, is it called talqeen, where they
talqeen, exactly.
They do the explanation of what's going to happen.
And they carry the janazah. They put 3 times before.
Yeah.
The grave.
There's 3. They stop it
make sure
3
that
times.
he gets ready.
I heard if it's a male, it's side to side into the grave, and if it's a female, it's from the bottom to the top. And then obviously you bury, and then finally there's 7 Surah Qadr. Everyone touches the grave. They put their fingers in the grave, and they recite Surah Qadr 7 times.
So there's mustahab and wajib acts mixed with these.
And then we're always told, Sheikhna, to walk away 40 steps or something, and to look at the grave again or something. And the mu'ammam always stays, and he asks everyone to leave because he needs to recite something. What does the mu'ammam recite on his own?
I mean, it depends. I mean, usually the Iraqi ones, they would recite Musibat al-Hussein alayhi salam as a mini majlis, maybe Surah Yasin and so forth. So it depends on every country's tradition.
Fair enough. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is studying science of the earth or other sciences related to our body functions or astronomy necessarily Islamic? Jazakallah khair.
The narration says that al-ilmu ilman, ilmu al-adyan wa ilmu al-abdan. We have 2 types of main types of knowledge. The knowledge of the religion, the faith, and the knowledge of the bodies. In other words, the medical field in which one is really in need of it. The nurses, the doctors, surgeons, and so forth. Because we need these 2 main things. The knowledge of religion for my akhirah and the knowledge of my body. So I can survive and live and be able to combat with the viruses and illnesses and so forth. So very most important and needed knowledge on earth, to be honest, within human beings. Others, of course, also required, ulama would give fatwa that if there was lack of, let's say, some kind of jobs, let's say bakery, you have to have this bakery. It becomes like a wajib to have extra bakery to cover the needs of the people.
Yeah.
So sometimes it becomes wajib kifai, wajib ayn. It depends on the ahkam about certain jobs that people really in need of it. Maybe you have to have more hospitals. It depends. So the alim would decide that what is needed when the people come and bring the report that we lack, let's say bakeries, we lack, let's say groceries. We need more and more of these. So the alim would state an issue, a verdict that yes, this becomes wajib kifaya and so forth.
Another question here from YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Is it possible that miracles in the Quran were just not able to be understood at the time? For example, Musa alayhi salam splitting the sea could be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling him to cross when the tides were low.
No, if you see, the whole sea was split into half, and that wouldn't happen with the tides at all, low or high.
So some people
it's impossible.
So I understand where the question is coming from the viewer, saying that, look, these weren't really miracles. They were just, phenomenons that happen, or they were just, they try and make it more realistic. So for example, it wasn't that the sea was split in half. It was that the tide went down and there was more, a path was available, and they walked through it. They could say stuff like, people got scared from, I don't know, they saw something in the forest to protect. Or for example, the spider that did the web in the cave, maybe there was more than one spider that was doing it and so forth. And things like that, they'll say, this doesn't make logical sense, but this makes more logical sense to happen. Can we agree with this or no? As stated in the Quran, it was like that.
You see, if you believe that Allah Azza wa Jal is able, is qadir, capable, then He can do anything. Allah is the one who created fire to offer heat, to burn, and for other causes, to give light in the darkness. The same Lord Azza wa Jal can provide from the same fire as a miracle to offer cool, for example, as Allah did with Ibrahim alayhi salam. What is your answer? Bardan wa salama. So it was cool and safe for Ibrahim alayhi salam when he landed inside that huge fire. So if you believe in Allah's capability that He can change these scientific, let's say natural sources,
physical qualities.
exactly, effects, then you can have, that's why you have Islam means taslim, submission. We submit to Allah Azza wa Jal. We believe in it.
Yeah.
And the same applies to other religions. They have also similar beliefs that, Isa alayhi salam, he was raised and so forth, and after his death. And so they have something similar to us as well. And this shows that, yes, miracles have had some kind of reality. Allah Azza wa Jal, who created the man from nothing, He can also change the rules of the nature. It's in His hand.
Yeah.
Azza wa Jal.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. We've already had that one. Let's go to something else. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Is it permissible to use in our foods oils derived from the fish that are forbidden to us? What about using such oils for other matters? That's from WhatsApp.
The fish must have scales so you can use them for food or drink, let's say.
Cod liver oil, very famous.
Well,
it's a supplement.
It has to be from a fish that has scales on its body. For external use, let's say cream, it's fine, but orally you have to make sure that you use a fish with the scales.
Another question here. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is red wine vinegar and white wine vinegar allowed to be used?
One of the purifiers or mutahirat, as you have in the Sharia, is to transfer the wine into vinegar. And that would make that forbidden drink into permissible drink. Because now it's no longer wine with its all effects and whatever result from drinking the wine.
No,
It's just the vinegar.
It's had a structural change at a chemical level.
Yeah.
The alcohol has all been deleted, has been evaporated and so forth, and it's just that. However, it was previously red wine or white wine, as said before. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. How does someone become a shaheed, a martyr, and is the dead of the martyr immediate Jannah?
Well, with regards to the martyrs, of course, the one who fights beside the infallible Imam alayhi salam, with his permission, would be, of course, shaheed, which means they won't need to wash his body or put kafan, so they can just wrap him and take him to the grave after praying the salah, the janazah, and so forth. There's no ghusl, there's no kafan. And that's what they did in Karbala, to the shuhada of Karbala. Without ghusl or kafan, they were buried with their blood. Yes. And now, of course, ulama would have something similar as well. If there was a war between the Muslims and non-Muslims, and somehow, again, some would consider that was also a shaheed, in which, with the permission from the Ahkam SOS, the faqih, with this regard.
Are there any other ways, Sheikh? Now, I've heard those who die in salah are considered shaheed. There's many different examples and so forth to achieve such a level.
We have different narrations with this regard. The ones who is drowned in the sea, for example, the one who is burnt through a fire, breaks out. But we also have a very nice hadith which says the one who dies with the love of Al Muhammad, he would die as a shaheed. So that's also a credit.
Wow.
Yeah.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can women fast the day she's going to miss before Ramadan? She always has her period 5 days, and so she assumes she will miss 5 days during Ramadan, so she fasts it before Ramadan starts.
No, it has to be after the whole month of Ramadan.
So it can only be made up. It can't be
after, not before. Yeah.
Fair. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can we join protests where there are free mixing? Do Shia have any concept of khuruj?
What is important that you observe the hijab policy, you observe all the boundaries of the Shari'i ruling. From
YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What's the fourth recommended mosque to pray in? First mosque built by the Prophet's Masjid Al-Quba or Imam Ali's shrine?
Of course, when you're in Mecca and Medina, there are lots of mosques around these two holy shrines and sites in which each mosque has its own benefits and rewards for praying. Of course, Tahiyatul Masjid, to greet the masjid. They call it 2 rak'ah for greeting the masjid. Every mosque you go. And then you see what also A'mal mentioned in the books of the A'mal, Manasik Hajj. They would mention at the end or the beginning, sometimes, what to do in a particular mosque, for example.
Thank you very much, Sheikh. Now we're going to go to a short break where me and the Sheikh will continue our discussion after the break. If you have a question you'd like to ask, now is the best time to ask your question. You may have a question on Hajj, on Ziyarah, you may have a question on traveling, you may have a question on money. Whatever question you have, please send it in via the WhatsApp. The number should be there on the bottom. You can scan the QR code. If you're watching on Facebook Live or you're watching on YouTube, you can put your question in the comment section. Myself and the Sheikh will be able to discuss and answer your questions after this short video.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or over
Islam
the graves?
established based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is there
countries?
an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 092155.
For those interested in an Islamic law book by Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi, please WhatsApp the Ahkam SOS team at the following number to place your order today: +44 7415 092155. The Islamic law book, available exclusively in hard copy, contains religious questions answered by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi. Order your hard copy today.
yes, you can get your copy of Islamic Laws by His Eminence the Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi by just WhatsApping us, your details and so forth, and asking for more information or requesting that you're interested and so forth. And inshallah, one of our team will get back to you and send it to you, inshallah. You are watching Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. Any questions that you have, you'd like to send in, please send them in now. The WhatsApp number is there. You can scan the QR code. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, put your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be able to answer your queries. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikhna, more and more questions are coming in. But before that, is there any other hadith or any other knowledge you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yes, indeed. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. There's a hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, again about his Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, when he said, "An-najum amanun li ahli as-sama," that the stars in the sky would protect in somehow the heavens.
Yes.
وَأَهْلُ بَيْتِ أَمَانٌ لِأَهْلِ الْأَرْضِ, and my family progeny are the aman and the protection for the people of the earth. Again, the hujjah must be on earth all the time, hidden or visible. Then the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa فَإِذَا ذَهَبَتُ النُّجُومُ أَتَى أَهْلُ السَّمَاءِ مَا يَكْرَهُونَ. So if the stars disappear, then something bad would happen to the heavens, to the skies. Then he said, وَإِذَا ذَهَبَ أَهْلُ بَيْتِي, and if my family, the Imams of Ahl Bayt disappear, and they're all being killed, they disappear, all of them, أَتَى أَهْلُ الْأَرْضِ مَا يَكْرَهُونَ. So people of the earth would see something bad as a result. And as I've said, the earth would be destroyed without a hujjah. That's why we have the hujjah before the creation, and within the creation, and at the end of the time, with the creation as well, and after the creation.
MashaAllah. Ahsant. Quick reminder to the viewers, you can send in your questions via the WhatsApp, QR code, or if you're watching on Facebook Live or on any social media platform, actually, just put it in the comment section. We'll do our best to answer. And this one's from YouTube. Can we ask personal prayers in namaz-e-witr?
Yes, of course. It's a mustahab namaz. You can ask for your hajat. Of course, the recommended ones is to pray for, ask for repentance or istighfar for 40 mu'mineen, to say istighfar 70 times, to say al-afu 300 times. These are the main ones, a'mal. You can prolong it if you want with other hajat.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is salah valid if a person uses cologne? Is cologne ritually pure?
You see, some ulama would have this opinion that alcohol within the perfumes and other products in overall is pure because it's industrial alcohol. The ones which are not allowed or impure is the intoxicating alcohol. So if you spray, let's say, wine, champagne, it would make your clothes or body impure, and you can't pray with them. But some other ulama, I've seen one or two in which they would even consider the alcohol in the perfume also najis. That's one of the opinions,
Be careful. From YouTube, should we feed the homeless if it makes them more dependent on us, such as people that stay homeless because of government assistance?
And overall, what we understand from the narrations is that do not reject the one who asks. So try to help as much as you can.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to work in a store or company that sells pork?
What is important that you do not serve that pork or even alcohol on the table for the customers. So be in the background, do your work in the background, and don't serve it to the customers.
Okay. Another one here, Sheikhna. And this is Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna, from WhatsApp. I did not know that Tawaf al-Nisa was obligatory for every individual who performs Umrah or Hajj al-Tamattu. I have not performed it. What should I do?
What the ulama would say that either you have to go back and do it, or send somebody as a na'ib, who does it on your behalf. So it depends again.
That's a good question, Sheikh. But what if, for example, I've left, I've done my Hajj and everything, and I forgot to do, Tawaf al-Nisa. I've come back home to my wife now. Is my wife halal on me, or do I have to perform another aqd again or something?
No, the ulama would say that there's a period of time that you cannot approach her,
Okay.
So it's just that until you have performed the Tawaf al-Nisa.
Okay. From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
A Muslim enters a cafe and sits down at a table to drink tea. Then a stranger comes at the same table to drink wine. Is it obligatory upon the Muslim to stop drinking tea and leave?
Well, you cannot sit on a dinner table or a sufra or a banquet in which the alcohol has been served. So you have to leave and sit on a different table, for example, that alcohol is not being consumed or served.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
What is the ruling on abortion, especially if it is an unwanted pregnancy?
An overall abortion is not permissible in Islam. You cannot kill an innocent being. So unless in a very strict or a severe consequence or exception in which the mother's life is life-threatening situation. So you either lose the mother or the child. In this case, they can do so. Otherwise, it's not permissible at all.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. What
As-salam.
is the proper definition of backbiting?
Backbiting is known as ghiba in Arabic, in which you speak behind someone's back
Yeah.
with what he or she doesn't like to be known with. So they have, let's say, some kind of illness or problem, they don't want to show it, and you expose them, that they got this kind of fault or illness and so forth. So you have to make sure that you get their consent before you say something about them bad. Otherwise, that's backbite. That's the problem. So you shouldn't say something that would hurt them in somehow
Fair.
when they're not.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it haram to obtain money from investing that takes interest on the money you make?
In overall, investing is allowed in overall, but to get the interest is an issue in which one cannot receive interest unless, because we got different hukum with regards to the Islamic banks, non-Islamic banks. If it's Islamic bank, is it a private or government-owned? So ulama would have different views with this regard. But just to receive interest, that needs, of course, to be checked.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
Where there is no heir for a deceased Muslim person in a foreign land, who should take charge of the burial?
Of course, in terms of a Muslim who dies, it becomes wajib kifai that it's
Is it the
wajib.
community or is it the
The
family?
community, yeah, everyone should,
Okay.
at least one should come forward and perform the funeral and the burial ceremony for this Muslim man or woman. It becomes wajib. And if they all reject it, then it becomes, all of them would be sinful as a result. So if one person takes over, then of course that should waive for the others.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it enough for night prayers to read only Salat al-Shafa' and Witr? So the final, was it 3 rak'ah? Is that enough for Salat al-Layl?
In terms of the mustahabbat, it's flexible in somehow. So you can actually just pray Shafa' and Witr, 3 rak'ah for the nightly prayers. So yes, you can.
From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Which part of the animal is haram to eat? For example, a lamb or a cow. Okay, so with a lamb and cow, Sheikhna, so halal animals, but what part is haram to eat? So are we allowed, I know you can't eat the pancreas, the gallbladder, I think the spinal nerve you're not
Yes,
allowed
the
to
nerve,
eat.
very famous, yeah.
Anything else?
The private part of the
Private
animal,
parts
yeah,
you're not allowed
the
to
animal,
eat.
yeah.
Anything- Intestines, is that okay?
I think it's mentioned in the books of the Risala Amaliyah, 8 or 9 types
Wow, there's a
of
lot.
forbidden, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
As-salam.
Does a female become baligh after she starts the cycle or when she turns 9 years old?
We've
We've
answered
answered
this.
that, that's 9 years old. Salam, Sheikhna. Why are
As-salam.
Friday's prayer optional?
Well, we have different narrations with this regard. That's why ulama differ in terms of the fatwa. Because originally the Friday praise was for the time of the Ma'asum alayhi salam, the infallible Imam or the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Now that they don't exist within the people, then it becomes what is known as wajib mukhayyar. It's wajib, but you have two options: either to pray Friday prayers
To A or B.
with the two khutbah, or to pray Salat al-Dhuhr instead, Jama'ah, or by yourself at home. In the time of the Imam appearance, Ajallah Faraj Sharif, of course, things will change. The hukum will change.
From WhatsApp, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. Is it permissible to play PUBG on the mobile phone, according to Zemlin's Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani?
I think we've answered last week about there's something that the Sayyid mentioned, or it's been said about what the Sayyid has been
distraction, I guess.
Some kind of.
Not happy with it. From YouTube, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna. When there is different opinions from Sheikhs and Mu'amimeen and Muraja, I guess, on a subject that could be haram or makruh, how does one know how to listen or who to listen to?
Yeah, basically, when we face different opinions with the ulama, that one says this is haram, one says this is makruh, one says this is halal, each goes back to his own marja and faqih. Like going back to your doctors, and each doctor has his own or her own opinion or conclusion when it comes to prescribing medication.
Yeah.
So sometimes they prescribe this type of medication, the other types, and so forth. So each marja and alim would extract the verdict from its sources with what they have reached with their knowledge, with their research and findings. So because sometimes you have two different narrations. One says, for example, Ahl Kitab are pure, the other says they're impure. What can you do with it? So each marja would try to find out other hadith which makes this hadith stronger, that yes, Ahl Kitab are pure. Others would say, no, they aren't pure, because we have this hadith, and I think this is stronger hadith, and so forth. So one always goes back to experts with this, in any field, medical field, engineering field, ahkam field, Islamic field. You have to go back to experts to find and to get the right answer.
Fine. Thank you very much, Sheikh. And thank you to all the viewers for joining us on this episode of Ahkam SOS. I do apologize, we've run out of time. We had so many questions there, but we'll roll them over, inshallah, to Monday's episode. If you have a question you'd like to ask, please send it in via the WhatsApp number, should be there below. You can scan the QR code. Or when we're live on air, you can send it in via YouTube or Facebook Live, whatever way that you are watching. Inshallah, myself and the Sheikh will be back on Monday, 7 p.m. here on Imam Hussein TV 3. Inshallah, by then you guys can have your questions ready, and we'll be more than happy to answer your inquiries, inshallah. Take care and see you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
More than 3,000 members of the Shia Hazara community have been killed since September 2011, according to reports.
Hundreds of Iraqi pilgrims arrive at the house of Grand Ayatollah Shirazi.
On Saturday, the Saudi authorities executed 21 people on other charges.
Taliban abusing humanitarian aid in Afghanistan.
Shia Rights Watch expresses its condemnation on the targeted bombings in the Iraqi capital Baghdad.
There is so much happening that now is the right moment to bring together the biggest stories in one place at one time. It's ambitious, it's a first for the Shia around the world. Join me, Ayoub Nueno, for Shia Waves, live only on Imam Hussein TV 3.
Ali and her 3 children live in this, I could literally say, 3 by 2 meter room. It is morning, afternoons, evenings, her day off, when she goes to work, when she cleans, when she cooks, when she changes the kids, everything takes place in this room.
والله شو أقول لك بحياتي؟ حياتي أول واحدة تعبانة، وأنا لي 5 سنوات أنا من تطلقت. بعد هذا ابني بلم هذا، من انفصلت. ظلت عشي تشتغل بالغواطي حتى يدري بي يا أبو أمجد دائما أشتغل دواير.
Ali, a young age, he had asthma, and Ali says that she would buy the medication before, but now she cannot afford it. So she only leaves it to emergency cases where he'll be hospitalized. Ali has very little. However, she has a lot of faith. She's still a strong believer and she has hope. Let's work together, where your donations will give a lot of hope to Ali, where she can provide for her young Ali, to have medication for him, ensure that these girls will have the right education, and ensure that she can provide for her mum, stay longer hours with her mum, which is physically disabled.
Make your impact today. Elevate the lives of your brothers and sisters. Donate now.
With more and more victims of war and poverty, the Middle East has seen a surge in patients seeking medical aid. Iraq alone has 2.4 million people without access to any form of medical assistance. In Afghanistan, due to the lack of funding and devastating conflict, the health service is at breaking point. Imam Hussein Charity aims to help provide a better future for these impoverished patients, aiding them with finances for their prescriptions as well as dialysis of their kidneys. You can help our brothers and sisters with purchases of prescriptions for just £20, and for £200 help a patient with a dialysis procedure. To donate or for more information, visit www.imamhusseincharity.com.
Allahumma ma'bud, oh Allah, Khuda, Khuda, Khudaya. Allahumma أدخل على أهل القبور السرور.
हे माबूद हर मोहताज को गनी बना दे.
Oh Allah, please feed all the hungry ones.
خدایا هر برهنه را لباس پوشان. اللهم اقضي دين كل مدين.
اے معبود ہر مصیبت زدہ کو آسودگی عطا کر.
Oh Allah, help all the strangers to return to their home.
خدایا هر اسیری را آزاد گردان، آزاد گردان، آزاد گردان. اللهم أصلح كل فاسد من أمور المسلمين.
ہے معبود ہے معبود ہے معبود ہر مریض کو شفا عطا فرما.
Poverty with your wealth.
خدا بدیهای حال ما را و خوبی صفات خودت تغییر ده، تغییر ده، تغییر ده. اللهم اقض عنا الداء واغننا من الفقر، إنك على كل شيء قدير.
ولد هالليلة قرآن اجا للدنيا صوت يرضى محلى اسمك الا رحمه ضيجل عليه، عشق ماكو مثله ماكو احلى من جماله، بدر كلها تشهد من محمد كل خصاله، نعم انا احبه وعلى دربه وبوصاله، نعم انا احبه والله، نعم انا احبه، نعم انا احبه والله، نعم انا احبه، نعم انا احبه، وفا وطيبه قلبه، وفا وطيبه قلبه، دليلي اكتبه، دليلي اكتبه، حبيبي وكل حياتي ملاذ ويا نجاتي، امل كل امنياتي حبيبي.